Welcome to the U-Man channel. Been a while since we had a project around here, and one of my sons has asked if we can do a little something, and I'll let him tell you all about it.
Well, the one thing that we're not able to do here is some blacksmithing work. My last semester of school, I took a class and got to learn some of the basics, and I took a real big interest in it. So I went to Harbor Freight and picked up a Doyle Anvil. Not anything too crazy special. It's about 62 pounds, I believe, 65 pounds. All we got to do now is make a stand for it, get a forge going, and we're going to be able to make some cool stuff with it. Alright, now that everything's cut, we made sure that the height of the 4x4s and the height of the anvil would match the correct height for my knuckles when I'm standing up. We're going to band them all together, glue them up. They're numbered here so we know where the strong points are. We're going to know exactly how the grains are supposed to lay before we put everything together, and hopefully that's going to make everything as strong as possible and give us a good base for this anvil.
Doing any fancy pickups or anything. This is close enough for the 3/8 rod we're going to put through here. We're going to put a 7/16 hole in, so we got a little bit of play. We'll be fine with the way we're doing this. It's just faster. Those are the 4-inch holes. 4-inch from the bottom, 4-inch from the top. Once we're done with all 16, we'll go to the 5-inch holes, which are opposing.
After we found some threaded rod and cut it a little bit long, we put it through all the holes. Everything seemed to line up pretty good. And now we're in the process of putting the glue on in between all the boards. The plan is put the glue in between the boards in one direction, pull them together, then down into the next one, pull them together, down into the third one, pull them together. Then we can tighten all the rods going left to right here from what we're looking at. And once that's done, we can go back and start gluing these surfaces and then put those four together. By doing this ahead of time, we should be able to avoid all the pain in the butt of trying to glue 4 pieces together on a flat table and then do all the drilling afterwards. So this seems to be working out very well, and we'll see how it ends up. And the threaded rods act as our clamps, so we don't need extra wood clamps. All right, now we have the first side all glued up. Now we rotated it 90 degrees and we're doing the other direction. We're gonna shove them together as we go, and then we'll start tightening up all the threaded rods. All right, now that everything is cut, what we're doing is we're loosening them so that they're flush with the end of the nut, and we're knocking them all the way in. Then we're going around to the other side and we're cutting them as close as we can right here to the surface. And then when you tighten them up, you'll see here, you tighten it up from the other side and it'll draw this one in. You put that nut as tight as you can before you cut it. Then when you draw that in, you got both of them below the level so you're not going to snag yourself on something. So we're going to go around and do these one at a time so we don't lose too much pressure at once. And you see how nice and tight everything is fitting here. Looks like that miter saw may have been off a fraction of a degree. Some of the tops aren't quite perfectly even, but that's not we can't fix with a sander, or if we have to, put into a big mill. Well, now that all the cracks are finally filled in and the glue is set enough, it's time to do some sanding and clean this baby up a little bit. High spots weren't too bad to take off on the top and the bottom. Gotta flatten it out a little bit more once we get the sides somewhat cleaned up. Nice 36 grit belt on that belt sander. Makes pretty quick work of it.
So since we held all these pieces of wood together with 3/8 inch rebar, we figured we can use some connector pieces right here, screw them on. Try this guy out. Just like that. And then if you have another piece of rebar you want to attach that'll extend it, you could put a shelf on there, hang tools from it, whatever you need it for. And for our last step, we're just going to be applying a protective coating of some boiled linseed oil. I have some rags here that I'm going to use to applicate it, making sure my hands are safe, covered with some rubberized gloves, and we're going to get right to it.
We're gonna have to get a final weight on this thing once we're all done with it. It's pretty heavy.
Yep. It's definitely solid.
life, huh?
Yeah, it's looking awesome, nice and shiny. A lot better than it did before, covered in glue and dirt and stuff. So now it's just time to dry.
We'll let it dry for a day or two, and then we'll put another coat on just to be sure, and then we should be ready to finish it up over the weekend.
Let's fast forward.
We're cutting the material for our straps here. Doing it the easy way.
That little impact didn't want to do the job, so we had to get out the big gun. Give it some final adjustment with the analog wrench. Alright, we just took that thing over to the scale, and what did it tip the scales at?
We're at pretty much exactly 165 pounds with the combined weight of the anvil and the base together. Solid piece of work.
Yes, it is. Nice job, bud.
So right now I'm just kind of seeing how the rebound is. Not expecting it to jump in the air or anything, but if it gives us a nice little ping pong ball effect, that's good with me. And that's just dropping it. I'm not putting any pressure down. Pretty dead over there. Nice rebound in the center here. And over here in the front feels like there's a nice good amount of rebound. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up this little part of the project. I thank you guys for coming and hanging out and playing with us. And my son earned his big blue wrench with this little project here. So, what's next on your agenda?
So, in the future, we're planning on building a gas propane forge to heat up material for this anvil and start working on making some cool stuff.
All right. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next one.